Types weird relationship with type beats. Nah, bro. I think kinda. Okay, now let's catch casual graphics. So right here, my boy Casual Graphics. He be covering a whole lot of interesting things. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm just gonna get my thumbnail in real quick. I'm covering gorillas and shit. What? Okay, that's good enough, right? Oh fuck. Alright, let me stop doing this. Okay, so yeah, we got Casual Geographics. Casual Geographic, yay. Alright, cool. So he's covering the ridiculously random nature of gorillas. Alright, should be interesting. I know some of y'all should relate out there. Y'all be like, nah, that ain't ridiculous, nigga. That's just my little brother.
Oh god.
The greatest trick Hollywood ever pulled was convincing the world that gorillas were something to be scared of. Whole time it's an ADHD Uber A built like a practical joke. The gorillini is the opposite of a sleeper build. They look like a flash pass to being full-time horizontal, when really gorillas are unintentionally the most unserious animals on the planet. Almost every character trait that made them feared back in the day actually makes them adorably ridiculous when you have context. Like you've seen this picture, a gorilla beating its chest and maybe you next has to be one of the most intimidating sights in nature. The sound though.
Scary as fuck.
That was not edited. Whole time this display sounds like an assault on bubble wrap. King Kong had you misunderstood. Only in a movie would you see this and hear the god of thunder. It's more like someone weaponizing bubble tea in a straw. Put on a blindfold and it's not threatening anybody but Bubble Buddy, because it sounds like his family flatlined by firing squad. It's fitting. It was widely believed that the peg pounding was considered an act of war, but newer research says that it might help gorillas avoid conflict altogether. In a study done by Edward Wright of the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Germany, it was found that the biggest, most brolic mountain gorillas actually produce the sounds with the lowest frequency. Something about larger air sacs near the larynx, but it's considered an honest signal of competitive.
So the deeper the bass sound,
with a higher frequency flesh tap might
that
just
means.
tap out of a fight before it happens. So the chest beating actually allows smaller gorillas to avoid a fight they'd almost certainly lose, and lets gorillas choose the best option, since bigger males.
Oh, so that's how they test, like, yo, that's how they would realize big dick energy. I feel like that's gorillas' ways of realizing big dick energy, because, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, that's a scary sound. It's a deep sound, a bass sort of sound. So a young nigga would know that, nah, not to mess with that, because the louder or the more intense the sound, I guess, right? They back the fuck off. Don't mess with it.
For intercourse. That's gonna be painfully ironic in a minute, but we'll get to that bridge. The other thing that apparently terrified early explorers into introverts was their jaw work. Gorillas have top 5 most inappropriate dental work for their profession, right up there with camels and the gelada monkey. It's almost divine intervention that a lawnmower with limbs has a stronger bite force than lions, hyenas, and even a grizzly bear.
But you see the build of, like, you see like one of those gorillas with the canine teeth and the weird, you know what I'm saying? The shit. You feel me? That jaw built and all of that kind of stuff. It's like that kind of shit makes you realize, like, how weird it is, like, what humans do. But that's why we're not animals. This is just a thought, you know what I'm saying? Because imagine those canines. Imagine a mouth like that giving head. You know what I'm saying? Now that's dick eating vibes. That's dick biting vibes, bro. That animal, like, tried to fucking experiment on, like, dick sucking. Damn. How the fuck would they do it? They'd have to, like, lick, though. That's all that it would have to have. Like, literally just run the tongue up and down the thing. Because literally trying to maybe get, you know what I'm saying? Let's say this hyena try to get another hyena dick. But hyenas don't have that kind of mouth, right? But, like, look at dogs. Dogs don't give each other head. So obviously it's like, That's just a thought, though. It's a high thought, my bad.
And if you watch gorilla ASMR, you can literally see the muscles attached to the sagittal crest. That crest is why the gorilla has a built-in mohawk. Lucky for literally everybody.
Built-in mohawk, wait, let me see.
And if you watch gorilla ASMR, you can literally see the muscles attached to the sagittal crest. That crest is why the gorilla has a built-in mohawk. Lucky for literally everybody, gorillas only use those vice grip jaws to crush about 40 pounds of food a day. And you'll never be more grateful for their grocery list until you watch one peel a tree like a banana. All that food would mean nothing if they didn't also have a host of gut bacteria to help break it all down. But because all that bacterial work also produces gas, gorillas are almost in a perpetual state of flatulence. A troop of IBS apes break more wind than a bloated beached whale, and it's so constant that researchers occasionally track traveling families through their southbound symphony. Scientists even used a gorilla-coded camera to gain insight into the secret society of this steroid simian, and what they found was that a well-fed family could blow a hole through the ozone layer. And out both ends, according to late gorilla expert Diane Fossey, gorillas burp.
Like, just watching that, like, just, I don't know, bro. It's just a sense of just like, you know what I'm saying? The shade, I feel like the shades in the rooms just like musty. You know what I'm saying? Just looking at. Y'all know the shade? Y'all heard of the shade? Y'all know the shade, right? Nah, it's just a musty allegation, like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of jokey, kind of, I mean. But I guess it's not funny when like somebody that he doesn't know like kind of says it. But you know what I'm saying? I fuck with the. Nah, I just fuck with Caproholics, bro. I feel like these niggas are my brothers at this point. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But yeah, but on the real though, it's just that sense of the shit. You feel what I'm saying? Cause that shit must sound bad, bro. If these niggas clap on their own chest and it sounds like fucking thunder.
Southbound symphony.
Imagine when they
Scientists
fart,
even used
bro.
a gorilla-coded camera to gain insight into the secret society of this steroid
That's
simian.
crazy.
And what they found was that a well-fed family could blow a hole through the ozone layer. And out both ends, according to late gorilla expert Diane Fossey, gorillas burp as an act of goodwill and contentment. And you know, in some cultures, letting it out the attic is considered a compliment, but they might as well have gotten it from a knuckle-walking cow ape. On a less audibly offensive note, gorillas have...
Oh shit. So there's letting it out the attic and letting it out the basement. I ain't gonna lie, it's the first time I hear that. So when you burp, it's letting it out the attic. Where the fuck do y'all say that at? And then when you fart, it's like letting it out the basement.
Also been recorded singing while they eat. Researchers refer to it as a chorus of appreciation. It's pretty cool. Check it out.
Just eat all day, bro.
Basically living in their version of a giant gingerbread house has gorilla gang singing out both ends. It's also a fact that they sing louder when eating their favorite foods like this banana tree stalk. And the funniest thing is, in the wild, the lead singer is actually the silverback. Science says he uses singing, or well, more like humming, to tell the group when it's time to stop and eat. And you know the law. When silverback speaks, everyone listens, and when he sings, it's...
Look at all that fucking stomach is just hanging, bro. Like, you know they fucking full.
Okay, jeez. It makes sense. Few things are more dominant than the lead silverback male. You know he's the one calling all the shots and making all the decisions for a troop of up to and sometimes over 30. One could say that is the peak male form. And you remember that painfully ironic thing I promised? Well, it's about that time, but before you judge me, I'm just gonna remind you that this is strictly educational. But I would feel weird if I didn't say this. So if you're a child, an adult with a child, or an adult who thinks they're a child, skip to this.
Oh, I think he's about to show these things fucking. Have you seen gorillas fucking, bro? Shit is crazy. And these things, they nut like after like 2.5 seconds. Bro, it's crazy, bro. Check this.
Timestamp right here. Or don't. I can't stop you, but don't let your parents blame you if you don't. Here's an ad while you consider the cost of curiosity. So, fun fact about a silverback, they're the largest apes in the world, can weigh in the neighborhood of 500 pounds, and when their privates stand at attention, they're about 3/4 short of 2 inches. They don't just have the smallest waist snake of any ape, it's widely believed gorillas have the smallest member of any mammal relative to body size.
King Kong ain't got on me!
I promise you he doesn't. In fact, if we scaled for size, you have a better chance at Subway of seeing a foot long than from a Giga Kong. I swear I'm not just using this for richer jokes. There's actually a reason gorillas ended up hung like a hamster. When you look at how all the great apes measure up, you'll 1. End up on a list, incognito can't save you, but 2. You'll realize humans have more appendical advantages than just a long thumb.
Hey, how's it going?
Chimps, bonobos, and orangs are roughly about the same, but nature seemed to maliciously undercut gorillas in particular. Believe it or not, it's a direct reflection of how they live. Chimpanzees live in polyandrous packs where females—
Why do they got asses like that, bro? I always wondered, bro. This is chimpanzees, man. Why do chimpanzees guts hang out their asses? Wait, hold on. Why? How do you even spell that? Chimpanzee. Sticking grass. Sticking. Okay.
can mate with multiple males, so there was evolutionary pressure for them to
weird. It looks like a face on the ass.
Particular. Believe it or not, it's a direct reflection of how they live. Chimpanzees
Looks like a face on the ass.
live in polyandrous
This shit
packs
looks
where females
disgusting,
chimps having a massive man purse. I feel dirty. With humans, it's believed that earlier variants may have selected for the more groinally gifted, especially with humans being more bipedal. It'd probably be more of a factor. Eventually, that led to humans having more to flex under the waistband than just 9mm. But with gorillas, it's different. They often live in harems where all the females in a group practice their multiplication tables with the one silverback, which means they didn't have the selective pressure of dealing with other males like chimps, or even the pressure of females having a choice like humans. Also, another theory is that a larger Nixon might have helped shovel out rival nectar. Again, something a back of silver doesn't have to worry about. It actually ties back to the chest beating. Being an absolute unit was already so much of a flex that evolution didn't have to juice their stats in other ways. But unfortunately, it means gorillas are built like an anti-steroid ad. But also consider this, silverbacks are the embodiment of what podcast bros call an alpha male. If humans were truly meant to take cues from them, forget Snickers, we'd be packing a Skittle. And with that, I am going to power wash my search history. Also, silverbacks aren't the aggressive jocks that movies made them out to be. Turns out, they're a lot more involved in raising children than we thought. Research actually shows that if a gorilla were to lose its mother, as long as it still isn't living off her milk, they'd still have an equal shot at surviving. It's cause silverbacks don't give child support, they are the child support. It's even been proven that gorillas are more attracted to the sensitive, child-nurturing males and not really the aggressive bully types, which is probably why they put up with so much disrespect and why the father instinct might not just apply to gorillas. You might remember in 1986, a child fell into a gorilla enclosure, crazy how often that happens, and 400-pound Yumbo went over and tried to comfort the unconscious boy. Even when the boy came to and understandably panicked, instead of wilding out at the sudden,
this boy had fainted in there. Oh, dang. He started nurturing it. Do you think, y'all think, what y'all know about, like, astrology shit? Because, like, the cancer archetype, right, is associated, you know, for the most part with the nurturing energy. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I thought of the star sign Cancer. You know what I'm saying? When this nigga was getting into this part that these things actually have nurturing energy. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Disturbance. Yumbo calmly guided the other gorillas to a corner of the enclosure while first responders rescued the boy. Ironically, this was during a time the majority thought gorillas were bloodthirsty savages patrolling the underbrush of Africa. That literally could not have been further from the truth. In fact, it led to one of the most infuriating arguments I keep letting myself get baited into. Anytime someone brings up gorilla versus grizzly, all I can think is, you don't know gorillas, and you really don't know grizzlies. Forget bears, there's cases of leopards causing problems for a plus-size primate, with records finding past tense gorillas with puncture wounds around the head and neck. Now, leopard attacks on a full-grown male are rare. But if a 150-pound big cat is a genuine threat, a 10-foot 900-pound revenant plot device would slaughter a roid monkey. And really, the more you think about it, the more disrespectful the question is. Y'all stay playing on a grizzly's body, especially since the gorilla himself wouldn't even want that smoke. For all that bulk, they definitely rather run away than run a fade. Imagine thinking they can match up with a grizzly when gorillas can get humbled by a change in weather. And I just love that gorillas in captivity and in the wild have no problems playing in the water, but when it falls out the sky, it's suddenly unacceptable. Also, I don't know if you've seen that corgi that gave its owner a heart attack until she realized the only victim was a jar of jam. Turns out gorillas might have done the same to early explorers. One could only imagine seeing the blood-soaked fangs of this behemoth up close, only to realize gorilla grills come from the tannins in their diet, and for reference, tannins are the same ingredient that makes coffee bitter. And I think that's just gorillas in a nutshell. They look like they could do an absolute number on the human population, but I cannot find one verified case of a gorilla murking a person. Attempts may have been made, but if you watch this video, you know she basically begged for it. Plus, it's captivity. In the wild, you actively have to try to get gorilla gloves put on you. They genuinely give you every possible warning before they do. And even if you ignore the chest beat, the flashing teeth, and all the other signs a gorilla might give you, usually the most they'll ever do is bluff charge. Now, let me not be ridiculous. A gorilla could absolutely turn you into a human jigsaw puzzle. And for all I'm talking, a bluff charge from a gorilla would have my soul pump faking the higher power. But gorillas got stuck with the monster label, which means it distracted people from the fact that they're the most unserious animals on earth. What do I mean? Well, you remember what I said about silverbacks being fathers? Well, this is Hauko. Hauko is a proud father of 4 who loves nothing more than to play with his children. Problem is, sometimes his mate isn't too eager to let him rock with such a small baby, so in all of Hauko's infinite wisdom, he came up with a solution. He fucking kidnapped her. Repeatedly. And yes, he did this with all his children, proving it really